Hey y'all, it's Mandy, and we're going to talk about my 23rd week on Mounjaro. That 23rd week was my 15th shot of the 7.5 milligram, which I plan to stay on. I don't foresee myself needing to titrate up because I'm basically at my goal weight. And I say basically because, well, that was your spoiler alert that I did not reach my goal weight once again this week. If you didn't check out last week's video, go check that out and then hop back over to this one, and then, this one will probably make a little more sense to you if you do that. So, once again, my prediction did not come to pass. But like I said last week, I'm going to predict it again until it happens. So at the end of all my update videos, I always attach what I ate for the week. And if you've watched any of these videos and you've paid attention to that portion of these videos, then you will be able to tell that starting last week, I was more intentional about eating foods that are higher in protein, with the mindset of, I'm about to hit my goal weight and get back into weightlifting, and the protein is going to be, not that it's never, a good idea to eat more protein, because it always is a good idea. It helps to preserve our muscle mass that we already have, but when we are intentionally trying to build more muscle mass, it is definitely vital in helping our bodies to build that muscle mass, along with preserving the lean muscle mass that we already have. Which I'm sure most people probably know that. But so I ate more foods like chicken, shrimp. Well, I think it was just chicken and shrimp, now that I'm thinking about it. But in comparison to, the foods that I was eating before that, was more slider foods. And that's what they're referred to in the VSG community. It's just foods that you can eat more of, and they just slide right on down. Think about like a handful of chips. I'm going to be able to eat those in a higher volume than I can like some grilled chicken, because the chicken is not just going to easily slide down like the potato chips would. So that's just an example if you don't know what a slider food is considered, or what is considered to be a slider food. So I think, just like I tried to analyze it last week, I don't know if those are the right words, but it just how my brain wraps around things. I think the same thing's holding true for this week. Even if not necessarily the calories jump up, but I think that our bodies respond even if we just change the types of foods we're eating. Sometimes it can be the density of the foods, which I think is the case for me, and what, that does on our digestion, which is already kind of, out of whack if you're on a GLP-1. You already know that. But it can have an effect on our digestion, which I think, most of the time it takes longer than a week for things to kind of like normalize, or find that balance, that place, you know what I mean, that it just, things get a little easier, if that's even a good word. I don't know that things ever really get easier with your digestion and a GLP-1. But things tend to normalize, and then you just throw something else into the mix, and it's a hamster wheel. But I think that is still the case, and still what's going on. I did notice, as I was going back and looking at the videos of what I ate this past week, I did have more sugar, but not in the way of like sweets like candy and cookies and things like that. Sometimes sugar hides in things that we don't really think about, like the salad dressing that I had. I typically eat ranch salad dressing, but for whatever reason this week I wanted Western salad dressing. It's just what I had the taste for, and that has quite a bit of sugar in it. So that happened. And also I had ketchup. Sorry, the car is going by. I think 2 or 3 days I had ketchup, and that's something that I don't usually have. Not because I don't like it or just intentionally avoid it. It's just something that I don't have much of. I usually eat ranch dressing with my French fries, which if you have not tried, like, what are you doing? There was something else that I noticed too. Oh, I had more bread this week. So I'm not saying that, the scale did what it did because I had, more carbs, and I'm not one to say, avoid carbs because this or that. I never get on here and say avoid any food group. Maybe approach some with more caution than others. Not just from a nutritional standpoint. A lot of times it's just, pay attention to how your body reacts to specific things. For me, sugar tends to cause an inflammatory response. And so when I look back at those videos and I seen, oh, that dressing, I had that several times this week. Oh, that ketchup, something that I don't usually have. And so when I went back and looked at that, and I think it's another reason why, it's a good idea to track, even if you're not going to do it every day, just periodically do it when maybe you notice your body's kind of, more puffy than usual, and this and that, which I have noticed in the past 2 weeks, actually. Even like today, I can just, when I woke up, I could tell without even before I even looked in the mirror, that I just felt puffy around my eyes. And then when I looked in the mirror, I can see it, and I can still see it. And so I think that's the added sugar that I had, and it showed itself on the scale too. So keep in mind all of those things, and don't just necessarily, start beating yourself up when you get on the scale and it doesn't show you what you want it to show you. It's not always fat that the scale is reflecting. For myself, I think it's the fact that my digestion is slow, not just from the BSG, but you add in the GLP-1 on top of that. I'm eating meatier foods now, food with more sustenance. Is that the right word? Substance. I think that means the same thing, so we're going to go with that word. Foods that kind of stick to your ribs, as we like to say here in the country and in the South. So I think that has played a part. I've been pretty good about getting my water in this week, and I think I've hit my fluid intake goal every day. So that's not the issue. I just really think that it's the inflammatory response from, that my body usually does, and it's normal for me, for the amount of sugar that I had, but not in candy, just in my normal foods. Something else that I did that I think could be playing a part in it too is that when I cooked my shrimp, I've been adding in not quite a tablespoon, more like a teaspoon of butter, which is something that I don't usually have. So I think it's just been the difference in the things that I've been eating, because I definitely don't think that I have been in a surplus to cause myself to gain any fat. So that's my idea on why the scale done what it done, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it, and neither should you. Just move forward and fix what we think needs fixed, or if it's something that don't need fixed and that is perfectly fine for us to be doing, just give our bodies time to kind of find that stabilization that our bodies love so much. I think it's called homeostasis. Our bodies love that. So just give your body a minute. Be patient. You don't have to be in a hurry to lose the weight that you want to lose. Just stay on track. Be consistent with doing what has worked. And after so long a period of time, if that's like really not working, then maybe think about switching something up. So for me, I really don't think that I need to be changing anything, especially going lower on my calories, because I'm still in a deficit. I'm sure. I'm not been tracking calories, but even looking at the videos and not trying to go by memory, I really do think that I'm definitely still in a deficit for sure, because I am quite active too, on top of being low, on calories. So I started tracking again today just to make sure, and I also am tracking my water just to make sure, because sometimes our minds in their busy worlds we live in today get away from us, and we're actually may not be doing what we think we're doing. So I'm going to track starting today again for at least this week for sure, and see if I might just be judging something wrong, and that this is more than just an inflammation thing. But I'm going to predict that it's not. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you my numbers with a VSG surgery, because a lot of you have been with me since then, and I don't ever want to leave that out because it's been a big part of my journey. So my high weight before VSG, which I had in July of 2020, June of 2020, my high weight was 259.2. The morning of surgery, I weighed in on the hospital scale at 250, and I lost down to 177, and then I had some regain. The scale went back up to 199.9, and that was when I decided to go get on GLP-1, and that day I weighed in at 199.9. Got back down to 177 with Saxenda, and that is when I switched over to Mounjaro. Since starting Mounjaro at 177, I thought it was wild that those numbers lined up the way they did. But I did go back to look and make sure, and they were both 177. Last week I weighed in at 146.4, which was up 0.4. This week I weighed in at 146.8, so I was up exactly another 0.4. Wild, huh? So all those numbers mean that since my high weight, I'm down 112.4. So how can I be mad at myself? How can I beat myself up over 0.4, even if it was 0.4 2 weeks in a row? I feel like I have done an amazing job. Go ahead, pat yourself on the back too. You deserve it. Since the day of surgery, I have lost 103.2 pounds. Girl, I ain't mad at myself. Since getting on a GLP-1, I have lost 53.1 pounds. Since starting Mounjaro, I have lost 30.2 pounds. And again, since last week, I'm up 0.4 pounds. So, our bodies, like I said, probably already in this video, and I know I've said it in previous videos, our bodies fight us tooth and nail to find a place of balance. And that's usually at a higher weight than what we want it to be most of the time, especially if we've been overweight for an extended amount of time. that has kind of become our body's new norm, and our body fights to stay there until it realizes, okay, well, this is going to be the new norm now, because we've been at this place for a X amount of time, and we like it here now. So that's what our bodies tend to do, even when it comes to exercise. That's why a lot of trainers and doctors and just everybody will tell you, switch it up periodically, switch it up every so often, to just kind of, present a new challenge, and our bodies react to that. So if you're fighting with that last 10 pounds, 5 pounds, in my case, what is it? We'll say 2 pounds. Just give your body time to adjust to your new routine. If you switched something up recently, especially. So just give it a minute. Don't beat yourself up. And like I said, if in the next, for me, if something don't change in the next, I'll say this week, because that would be 3 weeks, I will switch something up and see if that's the case. I really think it's probably my sugar intake. So this week I'm going to be more mindful of the sugar that is just in the foods that I'm eating, not necessarily just added sugar, which is in like your cakes, candies, and things like that. So I'm going to be paying more attention to the salad dressing, maybe the ketchup, because again, I really don't think I'm in a surplus for this to be any real weight gain. I think it's, the puffiness is probably, my sign that it is inflammatory. I noticed I've got that tingling feeling back in my legs that I usually experience when I'm having some swelling and some inflammation. My belly is bloated. So all the signs are there. So I'm not really, that concerned about it being from a perspective of fat gain and fat loss anyway. Now, inflammation, if you struggle with it, it is a cause for concern. It's not, a healthy place for you to allow your body to stay in. So I'm going to work on that this week, and hopefully when I report back to you next week, my prediction has came true. So hope everybody's doing well. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and do that. And if you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of thing. I also do travel, shopping hauls, RV life, grocery hauls, and recipes, cooking, and all the jazz. I just kind of mix it up, which is, can be bad for the algorithm, but again, I'm just being patient with that. So share my channel with your friends if you don't mind. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, which I feel like is moving at a snail's pace, but that's okay too. And I'll get there. But I appreciate it if you have stuck around to the end of this video. And I will check in. Actually, I will be checking in before the week's up because I have some other things I want to share with you guys. So let me stop yapping my jaws and show you what I ate this week. Bye, guys. Hope everybody's doing well.